Hey guys, it's Wahima, but just call me Wah. Melanated! Welcome to another episode of Morning Tea, where we sit in our sleepwear and discuss current events. Today's tea is iced Gypsy Rose Tea Girl. We taking it back to the Mountain Witch Tea Company, son. Okay, so let's get started because there's a lot of stuff to talk about. I have to tell you right now, after drinking a sip of this, I'm regretting not having chai tea right now because that's what my palate wants at this moment, and I feel like I have to give it to it. So let's jump into some pop culture tea. Here's the tea. Tyrese has lost his natural mind. It just came out today that the investigation against him for child abuse against his daughter Shayla, who is 10 years old, has been dropped, and he is so relieved and so happy. But girl, prior to today, he was acting a bloody fool. It started off with him having a restraining order against him as of, I think, September 11th, because his ex-wife came forward and said that Tyrese's daughter Shayla was afraid of him, and that there was a situation in which Tyrese grabbed her, threw her on the ground, put his knee in her back, and then whipped her 12 to 16 times, to the point where she couldn't sit down because of the pain and she was scared of her father. So the judge immediately put a restraining order against Tyrese so that he could not see his daughter. He could not be within 100 yards of his daughter because his daughter was due to testify against him in court to say whether or not these allegations of child abuse are true. He then decided that he was going to fly a plane over her elementary school saying, "Shayla, daddy loves you no matter what," which could be tampering with the witness, like intimidation, a couple of things that like really could sway her telling the absolute truth in this scenario. Also a situation with Tyrese was against his co-star, The Rock. So apparently when there was negotiations happening for, I guess, how much the actors are going to get paid for Fast 9, the cast members decided to have a pact of some sort where they asked maybe the leads, maybe Vin Diesel or The Rock, to not have a conversation with Universal, so maybe they could band together and have some sort of union clause where they decide that as a group, this is how much they're going to get paid. The Rock allegedly broke that rule and had conversations with Universal and made deals. And Tyrese is very upset with him. I don't know if the rest of the cast is upset with The Rock, but Tyrese has been very, very vocal about being upset with it. Calling him fake, saying that Hollywood is this and backstabbers, blah, blah, blah. But here's the deal, you guys. In Hollywood, it's a dog-eat-dog world, right? You're in one day and you're out the other, as though it's Project Runway. So the whole thing, the whole goal is to get in and make as much money as you can before you are no longer relevant. Tyrese has never really been relevant. It's only because the Fast and the Furious franchise and the Transformer franchise that the world really knows who Tyrese Gibson is, because we really only know him as a R&B star and Baby Boy. Like what else? I mean, he was a model for a while, but Tyrese didn't really become Tyrese Gibson until the last 10 years. So allegedly he's paying his ex-wife $13K a month, and I guess he's trying to say that the reason why she's saying these allegations happened was because she wants more money. I don't even know, girl. But all of a sudden now he's talking about he's broke and that, you know, he can't afford his lifestyle and he wants to be mad at The Rock, saying somehow The Rock has something to do with it. Listen, The Rock is just trying to make his money, okay? They have both gotten to a place where their careers are out of sight, and The Rock specifically, his career, he is the top paid actor in Hollywood right now. Okay? He knocked off Will Smith. He moved Samuel L. Jackson aside, and he was like, "What's up?" And as somebody who would like to be in this business as an actress, don't tell me what to do with my money. Okay? I'm not signing a pact. I'm not doing a pinky promise with anybody. If they offer me some money so that I can better take care of my family and for the legacy of me and mine, I'm going to absolutely do that. And no be-wrong actor is going to tell me that something's wrong with me because I don't want to wait to see what everybody else is get paid. That is not The Rock's job. He has peoples that he needs to take care of, from himself all the way down to his gardener. And so does Tyrese. I get that. But then Tyrese needs to work on becoming an A-list actor as opposed to being on set acting like a diva, like anybody cares about him. Because Universal does not care about Tyrese, you guys. Tyrese is not bringing anybody to the box office. They're not worried about Tyrese, okay? They're not worried about Tyrese. They're not worried about Ludacris. They're not worried about Michelle Rodriguez. They're not worried about anybody who isn't Vin Diesel or The Rock. Moving on. Wendy Williams, y'all. Wendy Williams fainted on her show, and it was like she saw the devil. It was so scary. She was in her, she was the Statue of Liberty, and she looked really, really pretty. And she all of a sudden looked like she saw a ghost or saw the devil and just fell to the ground. And then she came back on and talked about how she was a trooper and she got overheated in her costume and she passed out. Girl. So there's a lot of commentary because people are using that, her falling out, as a meme, and they're like, oh my God, you guys are so mean, and da-da-da-da-da. I mean, listen, girl, let it go. She's better. She's fine. It's cool. Now, if she wasn't and they were doing that, then there would be a problem. But she's fine. She came back on after the commercial break and announced that she was cool. She even talked about it on the next episode of Wendy Williams. So let's move on. Come on. I hate my phone. I just don't understand, like, why I can't just push a thing and it just pop up. It literally takes like 5 seconds. Like, if I wanted to snap a picture of somebody real quick doing something, I couldn't. They have at least 5 to 7 seconds to move or get out of the way or do something different before my camera pops up. It is so frustrating. Do you have to have nothing, no pictures, nothing in order for it to pop up right away? Jesus. I'm in the future and I want future technology to be better. There was a women's marathon this past week. First U.S. female to win the women's race was Shalane Flanagan since 1977. Let's move on to some politics tea. Here's the tea. So you guys remember the drama with the DNC when Deborah Wasserman had to step down because they saw there was corruption in the DNC during the election between the primaries between Clinton and Bernie. So Debbie Wasserman, who was the chairman, had to step down. And in her place, this other woman joined. So Donna Brazile then took over for Debbie Wasserman in the interim. Now, Donna Brazile has now put out a book. And in that book, there are excerpts where she talks about Clinton somehow getting control over the funds that go into helping candidates win the primary, and most of those funds being allocated to the Clinton campaign. So it's a huge scandal. Many people on the left in the Democratic Party are wondering why she'd take this moment to do this. Like, why? Why now? So my thought regarding that is, why even write about it? But if you, I guess, to sell books, if that's the juiciest thing that's happened in your life and you really want to sell the book as a person who had an inside track on a situation that is corruption and you want to open the doors to it, now would be the best time to do it, because the DNC isn't going to be active with a presidential candidate for another 3-4 years. So maybe this will kind of be pushed aside and nobody will think about it. But I don't know. It's just, there's a lot of unrest. My father's very upset with this, with Donna. He's like, why come out with this? What's the point of this? But for me, to be fair, I think it should come out. I don't think it should be a secret. We need to be as forthright with the scandals and the drama that happens in the Democratic Party as possible to kind of stay as clean as possible, right? You know what I'm saying? Just to own up to the shit that happens so that you can control it when it does come out. And it doesn't have to like come in and blindside everybody, right? Trump has gone on tour in Asia, so that's where he's going to be. Thank God. Hopefully he doesn't do anything to cause any trouble. But another thing I heard is that, you know, I was watching Bill Maher, and Bill Maher was talking about, everyone thinks that Trump hasn't done anything when he's in office, but apparently he has been doing a lot of things. It's just that he's overshadowed the things that he has been doing with all of the scandals and the drama that's been going on. Apparently he passed a bill that made it so that people can't sue the banks. That is insane to me. So I think we really need to be paying attention to the stuff that he's actually pushing through, and I'm going to strive to try to find out the things that are happening in Washington behind the scenes that aren't being talked about, because he has such crazy antics. And this could be a classic bait and switch, and he could leave that presidency and have things be so weird when he gets out that we're just like, what? That happened? He passed that bill? That law passed? Like, what? Why didn't we know? We didn't know because we were so busy worrying about his antics, his sexism, his racism. We're allowing that to distract us from what is actually happening in Washington. He made some comment last week saying that he wished that he had full control over the Department of Justice, that he would do certain things. The Democrats, I mean, the left just like decided to run with that story, and I'm just like, who cares? He would say something like that. Stop being shocked about the crazy, unethical things that he says. Like, let's let it go. Let's worry about the real issues. Duh. So let's move on to some domestic tea. Here's the tea. So in the University of Hartford in Connecticut, a freshman has been expelled because she is a nasty boo-boo head. Okay, so let me tell you what this girl did. We have Brianna Brochu, and then we have Chanel Rowe. So they are living together in the dorms, and I guess Brianna hates Jazzy. So Jazzy kept going to the doctor and with like a crazy throat infection. Like, it lasted for an entire month, and she didn't know what was going on. And she was having so much drama with Brianna that she finally decided that she was just going to move out and find another space. So as she's moving out, and she tells Brianna that she's leaving, she sees Brianna like texting on her phone or whatever, and she thinks nothing of it. Apparently, Brianna is making a long post on Twitter or Instagram stating all the things that she has done to sabotage Jazzy. She has spit in her coconut oil. She has put moldy, like some kind of chowder in her lotion. She has put bloody tampons all over her backpack. And the worst thing that she could have possibly done is she apparently stuck Jazzy's toothbrush up in a place where the sun don't shine, and that's why Jazzy has been having this throat infection. Ugh. Ugh. So the Hanover police are asking that charges be brought up on Brianna for intimidation based on bigotry or bias. That is so disgusting. Like, even Shonda Rhimes chimed in and was like, who raised this ignorant waste of space? Like, this woman is disgusting. She is gross. Like, girl. Who do you hail from? Who's your family? They need to come get you because you don't know how to behave. Halloween. There was a terrorist attack in New York City in Halloween where 8 people died. A guy got into a van, which is like been the popular MO for attacks on France and London. Like, that he got into a van and he just like mowed down a bunch of people in an area where people are biking. And the police finally got him and shot him. They did not kill him, though, and so he's alive and he's going to go on trial. His family is from Uzbekistan, and they said that they had no evidence that he was like this. In fact, his mother just came, I think, from visiting him in the U.S. a year ago, and she said that she didn't notice anything, and had she would have taken him from the U.S. and taken him back. So anyways, that's what happened, and New Yorkers are very resilient. A lot of my friends were they all checked in and said that they were okay and that they were worried, but at the same time, like, New Yorkers are a bunch of tough people, and people still went out and had fun and did what they needed to do on Halloween. And everybody just stay safe because you never know. You never know. And then speaking of you never know, there's another issue with domestic terrorism here in the United States. Today, outside of San Antonio, there was a killing in a small town in Sutherland Springs, Texas. I mean, it's such a small town. That's the thing that's so shocking to everyone, because you think that these kinds of things happen in places where there's more population, but this town is so small. It just has 2 gas stations, a community center, a church, like I think like a tire shop, and a Dollar General. Like, it's that small, and it's such a small, close-knit community that somebody walking into a Baptist church on Sunday morning at 11:30 in the morning and just start shooting people, I mean, killed 20 people. It's like, it's not said if this is going to be considered a hate crime as well as domestic terrorism, because we don't know the race of anything involved. We don't know how the shooter died, but he did die. We don't know if he killed himself or it was FBI. This investigation is pending, and this is breaking news, and I'm sure there'll be more information once I've already posted this up. I really hope that there's community healing that happens in Sutherland Springs. Okay, so let's move on to some international tea. Here's the tea. Okay, Catalonia, you guys, let's do a follow-up on Catalonia. So, you remember how I told you that the president of Catalonia was kicked out and so was his office? They all got fired. Okay, so they fled to Belgium to ask for help from other people in Europe to see if any other governments will help them. The Spanish government put out a warrant for their arrest. The ex-president went to the police station and turned himself in. And he said that he wasn't fleeing from justice. He was just trying to get some help from his allies. But they issued an international arrest warrant for him on Friday, the day after 8 members of the dissolved Catalan government were jailed in Spain. So they've already got some of them jailed. So his charges include sedition, rebellion, misuse of funds, abuse of authority, and contempt. He's prepared to fully cooperate with Belgian justice following the European arrest warrant issued by Spain. So I don't know if Belgium is going to grant him asylum or political asylum or whatever, but he turned himself in. So let's see what's going to happen with that. Isn't that crazy? Spain came after him. Like, we told you not to hold those elections. Now we coming for you. Okay, so next we're going to talk about Saudi Arabia, guys. We're going to talk about the Middle East. There is so much happening in the Middle East, you guys, that it is overwhelming. And I don't know how to explain it to you without you guys falling asleep. So I'm going to break it down as much as I possibly can. So on Friday, supposedly ISIS strongholds in Iraq and Syria have been demolished. They're done. They got them. That was one thing that happened. Now, there's the Crown Prince bin Salman. He's 32 years old. And since he became Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, he has been shaking it up. His whole idea is to turn Saudi Arabia into a more secular country. There is a proxy war happening in Yemen between Saudi Arabia and Iran. Iran is backing rebel forces, and Saudi Arabia is supposedly backing the Yemeni government. So that's like the United States and North Korea having a war in Mexico. And Yemen now can no longer be considered a stable state. Like, they're no longer a stable country. And it's because of this war. That's one thing. Another thing is that there was a missile that was launched towards Riyadh, which is the capital of Saudi Arabia, that was intercepted. So it never actually landed, but it came pretty close to. And it came from Yemen, and it came from those rebel forces that Iran is backing up. So then the next thing that happened, so bin Salman has now forced the Lebanese prime minister to resign as the Lebanese prime minister. That is like Trump going to Russia and resigning as president of the United States. The prime minister of Lebanon resigned because he said there was too much corruption and too much interference from foreign political people. And also he had so many assassination attempts that it was just too much for him. So what you're saying is, sir, you are in the pocket of Saudi Arabia. Everyone knows it. Everyone knows that the prime minister of Lebanon is in the pocket of Saudi Arabia. He is in Riyadh. He is forced to resign as prime minister while in Saudi Arabia on Saudi television. He doesn't even go back to Lebanon to resign. So now Lebanon is thrown into chaos. And the reason why that's a big deal is because Lebanon holds Hezbollah. Hezbollah is a political party in the Lebanese parliament. Hezbollah, as you all know, is considered a terrorist group by the United States. Hezbollah is also backed by Iran. Egypt is a ticking time bomb. There is so much going on. The GCC isn't even like as whole as it once was. I don't even know what's going on in Qatar. I don't even know if they've stopped the blockade from Qatar, but girl, it's been like 5 months. Could you imagine President Trump resigning as president of the United States while in the Kremlin? Like, there's too much corruption in the United States, I'm resigning. It's insane. It would be like Justin Trudeau, who's cute, who's the prime minister of Canada, being in Washington, D.C., resigning as prime minister of Canada because of all the corruption in Canada and because of all the influence the United States has on Canada. I mean, it's so obvious that the prime minister, Hariri, of Lebanon is in the pocket of Saudi Arabia. It is like insane. How do you fight a war with another country on another country's soil? What? So that's the second thing that happened. Now, the third thing that's happened is bin Salman has rounded up all of the billionaires in Saudi Arabia and arrested them. An insider is saying that the reason why he's arrested them is because they refuse to pay up to help with the Saudi economy. Apparently, Saudi economy is going crazy due to the war, due to the fighting that they're doing with other countries, and so they need help. And they ask for their businessmen to help, and the businessmen are like, I wonder if Janet Jackson's ex-husband is caught up in this. It's all being done by bin Salman, and his whole idea is that he wants to make Saudi Arabia better, but he has just launched the entire Middle East into chaos. Hopefully everything comes out okay. And you know there's going to be a bunch of people trying to take advantage of the chaos. I mean, they've already done it before, and it's just going to get even worse. Israel is probably going to do something to Syria or to Lebanon now that Lebanon doesn't have the prime minister. Is Hezbollah going to grow and take over Lebanon, basically? Like, so many innocent people have died in Yemen due to this war. A swoop, all these things are happening. ISIS fell in Iraq and Syria. Then the prime minister of Lebanon just quits. Prince of Saudi Arabia rounds up all the billionaires and arrests them. And then the missile that came from Yemen almost made it, but they were able to intercept it. All right, you guys, so that's it for this episode of Morning Tea. I hope that you learned something new. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns and would like to join the conversation, please leave a comment down below. If you like what I do here on this channel and you would like to consider becoming a Patreon patron, please click the link down below and do so. Remember to be you, be true, and find your place. Okay, bye.